People tend to think a personal statement is just about yourself and what you want to achieve and how you want to get that course, get that degree, make money and be rich. But writing a personal statement is really about being able to be an agent of change in your community, in your society. And if you want to be able to prove to the admissions team or even the scholarship secretariat that you are someone who is really going to pursue that impact you're talking about, then you should show them your track record, right, of already doing something in the community, right? And so that's where people have challenges, because they don't know what to write. What have I done in my community? How can I prove that I'm someone who's passionate about development? I'm passionate about politics. I'm passionate about women empowerment. I'm passionate about youth. I'm passionate about anything you're passionate about, right? So you have to talk about these extracurricular activities that I'm going to be giving you examples of, because these are going to help to really, drive home your claim that you are someone who wants to make impact. Okay, so leadership and mentorship. Okay, when people think about leadership, they only think about being and having a position in class, or like having a position in school as a prefect, or doing something really huge. But leadership can be anything, like leading a project. You can be someone who maybe took an initiative to start like cleaning in your community or in your neighborhood. You can be someone who just basically decided to start a campaign or start some form of a protest or an awareness on something, education, public education on something. So something that you took initiative to start. Okay, now it doesn't even always mean that you took initiative. However, you basically were in charge of something, in charge of a project, in charge of a group of people, in charge of money. Okay, so anything that has to do with you being in charge of something, okay, you being put in a place of taking care of something, that is leadership, and you should be able to write on that, right? Now, leadership is not only also about being in charge, but it's also about empowering people, okay, to also be better, seeing the best or seeing good in people and empowering them to be able to use that good in them for the society, for the general good. So think about that whenever you want to talk about leadership. Think about those things. Mentorship is very similar to leadership. However, mentorship has to do with actual human beings, right? Leading people, but not just leading them, finding out what is in them that they can bring out to be able to make a difference in their communities, in their society. So if you have done some mentorship in your community, even mentoring your own brother or sister to be able to excel in school, to be able to do something in society, something that they hitherto wouldn't have done, that is mentorship. Okay, so talk about leadership, talk about mentorship. Did you do mentorship at church? It's be great to write about it. You just have to be able to know that the focus here is on the mentorship, okay, not necessarily the religious aspect of it. So it will be really great to write about what you did in terms of the mentorship or the leadership, rather than the spiritual side of it, which is really great if you ask me, that you are doing something in your church, in your community, but at the end of the day, focus more on the leadership and the mentorship aspect of it. Okay, volunteering. If you volunteered to help in any orphanage, you volunteered to do cleaning, you volunteered in a food bank, or you volunteered anywhere, basically, that is something you can talk about that links to. Now remember, these things you're talking about have to somewhat link to what you are talking about. Okay, so if you are someone who wants to if you are trying to write a personal statement about you wanting to help improve health in Ghana, then definitely you writing about volunteering through maybe the Red Cross, or volunteering through a community health screening is great. It really adds on to it, right? However, even if it does not link, it would be great to still write about it, just that it will be better if you have activities that align with the passion that you want to talk about, or the the goal that you want to be able to reach, the impact that you want to be able to make. Okay, social causes, so as I said, campaigns, protests, any form of, you know, awareness, bringing people's awareness to certain situations, to certain realities, you know, talking about teenage pregnancy, talking about, you know, anything basically that you have done in society, okay, that has pushed a good cause is something worth talking about. Okay, now sometimes we find it difficult to talk about it because we are like, is that really an extracurricular activity? People think about extracurricular activities in terms of like maybe sports or science club or like, you know, debating club, which are also great, but a social cause, you know, is really, really very, very important, and it's something worth noting and writing about. Okay, especially if it aligns with what you want to talk about, the impact you want to make. Okay, internships are really, really great. Okay, internships help you to be able to talk more to the professional side of what you want to do, right? So if you've done internships before, it will be really great to talk about it. Now, the part that would be really good is when you're able to talk about your observations during the internships and what you feel like is not necessarily missing, but what you can help, what you can do to improve, right? So whenever you are talking about working in an already structured organization and all that, kind of talk about what are the experiences, but what are also the observations you made, and what do you think can be better, what do you think can be done to really improve on what they are already doing. Okay, so it's very, very important to talk about it through that angle. So if you also did sports and you're somebody who is interested in studying about sports and you want to improve sports in your country, by all means talk about sports. But if you did sports and it's not necessarily directed to what you, it's not directly related to what you want to talk about, then somehow it's a little bit misplaced. But definitely there's always a way to align whatever you did to what you're talking about. So think about it. I would suggest that you write down everything that you've done in these areas. Okay, now this is just a few. There are other ones that have to do with like joining seminars, conferences, you know, where you were not necessarily directly involved, but you also gained some knowledge. Okay, you also made some observations. Okay, you also learned something, you met people, you networked with people. Great. Those are also things that are worth talking about and worth writing about. If you won an award, great, you should talk about it. If you were part of like an NGO, or you basically volunteered for an NGO, talk about it. So these are, like, I'm just saying, do not let anything just slide by and just say, you know, I don't have a lot of experience outside of the classroom. You did something. Unless you're someone who just gets from classroom to your room and from your room to your classroom, then that one, I don't know. But write down every single thing you've done that is not in the classroom nor at a workplace where you are being paid, like your actual profession, okay, or your actual job, right? Write down every such thing and think about how it relates with what you want to write about in your personal statement. And I promise you, you're going to have a very strong and rich personal statement that will really send the message across. So I wish you all the best.